When you want to create a certain result in your life, how do you go about doing it? Hi, I'm Reverend Ellie Bierman, and you are listening to the Let's Get Metaphysical show, where things that are really important to you, they're part of your world. Why? Because they're really important to you. So you get to focus your energy there, feeling good. And now let's continue with what to do about what kind of result. What is it that we really want in life? And how are we going to make it happen? What kind of result? What is it that we really want in life? And how are we going to make it happen? So now let's get back into our story. Some people write it down. Some people meditate on it, probably having a few phrases in their meditation. Some people really don't pay any attention. They know what they want, but they're not telling the universe, their guides, their angels, their entities, what they want. So, how are they supposed to be supported? The fact is, you're going to be supported regardless of whether or not you know how to communicate with your guides, with your angels, with the entities, because they're talking at you non-stop. They always have been, and they always will be. And you can learn how to tune in to what messages they're yakking at you constantly. And I can show you how. So if that's you, go ahead and contact me. You'll see in the show notes how you can do that. So for me, when I know that I want to do something, I have a feeling in my heart that I want my world to look a certain way. For instance, when I was attacked and very badly hurt back in 1996, everybody was thinking, why aren't you angry with the person who attacked you? Because that attack dramatically changed your life. And I couldn't get angry. And here's why. And here's what I told the psychologist in the rehab center. I know that everything happens the way it needs to, and I know I needed to create a different life for me. And the only way I was going to get out of the situation where I knew wasn't optimal for me was by being attacked, so I couldn't function in that environment anymore. What do you do? I remember telling that to the psychologist, and he said, the only people I ever see heal from a brain injury are the people who see the good. Well, I sure was doing that. I was looking for all the good in the event. I knew I needed to get out of there. I knew I wasn't taking the steps I needed to do to get out of there. So the universe assisted me by creating an attack that basically took me out of functioning for 15 months. And in that 15 months, I was creating the me I want to be. And I knew that whatever I focused on was happening in my world. It wasn't because somebody told me that. It wasn't because I was doing some process that some guru, self-proclaimed guru, was teaching. It was just what my heart was telling me. When you listen to your heart, when you tune into your own spirit, you will never, ever get wrong information. You will never suffer something that's going to stop you from reaching, from attaining the life that you really desire. Now, does that mean everything's going to look perfect? Boom, just like that? No. because you have to go through certain experiences. You have to get certain learnings, appreciate new information that you weren't. You need to go through certain experiences that you weren't going to go through on the path that you were living before, because your life isn't going to change direction. If you didn't see last week's show, you want to see all about changing direction. You need to listen. And you might not hear voices in your head, but you know what will happen for you? Nudges. There are nudges telling you, do this, don't do that. That's tuning in to your spirit, because your spirit will never, ever take you any place that's not in your highest and best interest. Ultimately, in the moment, it may not look that way to you. But if you're really paying attention, if you realize you're getting very clear nudges to take certain steps, to avoid taking other steps, if you really pay attention, you'll get to grow through the entire process that's going to lead you on the path you've not yet traveled. When I had that really bad injury in 96, I basically couldn't use my eyes for 15 months, because when my eyes were open, everything was all distorted. Like I'd walk by a building and I'd say, building doesn't look like that. Because my eyes, the way they were connecting to my brain interpretation of what I was seeing, it just wasn't a match for 15 months. But here's some cool stuff that happened for me. Because I had to keep my eyes closed most of that 15 months, because it was too painful to see things that I couldn't comprehend. It was too discomforting to see a scene or a situation and know this isn't right. That's not how it looks. So what I did was, because my eyes were closed most of the time, I developed a keen, really keen sense of hearing, so that when I was pouring water or I was filling a pitcher with my eyes closed, I could hear the frequency, the pitch of it was rising higher and higher as the container filled. So I knew to open my eyes before it overflowed. So my hearing got really sharp. And yeah, it's now no, it's not 19. It is now 2025. And that injury happened in 1996. And my senses didn't just turn off when I reached a certain level. They continued to get more and more sharp, keener and keener, so that I have extraordinary hearing. And I warn people about that, because if you're anywhere in my house, even if you're on a different floor, I only hear your conversation. So just to give you a heads up, because I'm sure I'm not the only one in that position. I was able to tune in, am still able to tune in to feelings that other people may be experiencing. That didn't used to happen for me. So I gained a whole new world to live in, to expand how I live in the world, because that injury happened, because I had to go through a healing process that I never could have chosen consciously to do. What kind of path is your higher self, your spirit, your guides, your angels trying to get you to change into? Yeah, my last show was all about change direction. And this one is just pay attention to the nudges that you're getting, to what you're experiencing, to what's appearing in your world that you never used to see happening. It was always there, but you just never saw it happening. Something you might be noticing, my hair was completely white a few months ago, and now it's just getting darker and darker and darker. And I use a technology that allows my body to create, to wake up my own stem cells. Well, what am I talking about? Well, you know what? You go down and look in the show notes, and you'll find out how I was able to heal my body when I didn't understand what was going on, but I was able to do it because I was getting the messages from within and I was acting on them. How? By loving, by applying my own energy without questioning. You can do that too. And you can heal all kinds of things yourself, because here's the bottom line. No one can heal you but you. No one can do anything for you to heal but you. And you only do it when you're paying attention, when you're aware of the messages your environment, your own body, mind, spirit are yelling at you to do. Thank you for joining me here today for the Let's Get Metaphysical show. I am Reverend Allie Bierman, and I want to remind you, going over and take advantage of Audible's gift. You get 30 whole days to go in there, look around, find, they're not just audiobooks. They're not just courses. They're not just podcasts. There's all kinds of cool stuff in there. I've been a member of Audible, I think, since the very beginning. It's been a very long time. And I just love all the learning I get to do. And here's what's super cool. Because of the guidance from the universe, I'm getting the exact same messages, the exact same. These are the directions of how the universe works, how my world, your world, the only one world that exists, is the same for all of us. So it's combining the greatest secret and one of my favorite topics, biocentrism, and that's all about awareness. Isn't that interesting? I think it is. And I want to remind you to enjoy. That's capital I-N, capital J-O-Y, every moment. Because absolutely nothing exists outside of you. Think about it. How do you hear things that happen? Not because there's a sound coming in your ears, but because there's a vibration hitting your eardrums. How are you able to see things? Because the vibrations are going to your vision center, which is actually at the base of your skull in the back. All your five senses happen inside of you. Is there a world outside of you? What do you think? That's not how I'm experiencing the world. How about you? I look forward to being here with you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Let's Get Metaphysical show. Be sure to click the chat mark and follow us so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, I appreciate you leaving a rating, a review, and be sure to share it with 2 friends. Tune in every Monday for more exciting insights and wisdom on life beyond your five senses. Until next time, take a small step in a new direction and start now.